Well guys, it's December and it's finally cold outside, which means it's time to park this, start working on the winter project. Follow along, see what I got going on this winter. Alright, so you guys who've seen the channel before know that I got a little white 1964 CJ5 Willys Jeep. It's a really cool little rig. I'll put a little link up here, over there, where you can click and you can watch the whole kind of series of how I built it up and got it going. It's just tired. It's a little 4-cylinder that was rated, I think, at 70 horsepower new back in 1964, and I don't think that engine's ever been apart. So starts up every time, just runs great, except gutless. I live up at about 7,500 feet too in the mountains, and that thing just has no power at this altitude. I'd love to be able to, well, I'll never go fast in the Jeep. It's got real low gears and no overdrive, but I'd love to get places, you know, without having to downshift into first and hope I don't have to put it in low range whenever I go up a hill. So I think I got what's going to fix it. That is this right here. This is a Chevrolet 4.3 liter V6. If you looked at from about right here forward, you'd start to think that it's a small block Chevy, because it basically is, but it's only the 6-cylinder. 4.3 liter, this is out of a 1992 Chevy S10 pickup. And I picked this one in particular, mainly because the price is right. but because it had the manual transmission behind it, so it has the flywheel. I won't have to source out one of those. It's electronic fuel injection, but it's throttle body injection, so the older style, not the CPI with all the individual runners and stuff. But it's pretty foolproof. And with it, I got the master cylinder, slave cylinder, so I plan on doing a little bit of clutch work to try to go convert the old Jeep to a hydraulic clutch. I'd love to convert the thing to vacuum assist brakes as well while I'm at it. But before we get the cart before the horse, I need to make sure this engine is good. So I'm going to run a couple diagnostics on it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run a compression test, and I'm going to run my little fancy little borescope camera in each one of the cylinders. We're going to poke around in there and see if we can make this thing, make sure this thing's in good shape. Check out the cylinder walls and whatnot. And I can't remember, maybe you guys will know, or maybe we'll find out, if it has a roller. Yeah, 1992 should have a hydraulic roller camshaft in it. But I could also pop this distributor out and feed my camera in there, and we can look down in the valley, see what kind of shape it's in. But before we get too far, I think I'm going to come in first, rip the water pump off, because I'm not using that. I won't use this pulley, bottom pulley either. And I think I'm going to try to pull these exhaust manifolds off, because I know this one's going to have to change for the steering. That'll come in a later episode. We'll figure that out. But I might pull those off because it'll be easier to get in here to spark plugs and whatnot and clean the thing up. My hope is that this little engine has good compression, looks great inside, and we're happy with it, so we can do the old Krylon rebuild. We'll just scrub the heck out of it, clean it up, and hit it with some spray paint. Alright, I got her torn down about as much as I want to. Water pumps off, pulley, exhaust manifolds. No broken bolts. That was a pretty good win getting those out of there. And I also pulled the spark plugs out. And a guy can learn a lot about an engine by reading these plugs. And if you look at these guys, they don't look too bad. I mean, they look a little bit carboned up. Whoops, I have them in order of the cylinder. They look a little carboned up, but they're not oily, and that's a big thing, is if they're loaded up with oil or corrosion or something, then you know you're getting some bad stuff, like maybe you have bad rings or whatever in the engine. But my first initial impression pulling these spark plugs out was that this engine is in pretty good shape. I think the guy said it had like maybe 170,000 miles on it. I don't know, we'll see. I do know that when I went to pull the bolts out of the front and everything, that it turned over pretty easily, so that was good. It's not locked up. Here's how we're going to affect this thing. We got the old bad Hombre hooked up to the jumper cables and got them hooked up to the starter. I'm going to use my little oh, I don't know, what's that fella on Vice Grip Garage calls it, the Lone Wolf 9000, which I guess would make this like the Lone Wolf 850 or something, I don't know. It's just basically a couple of clips screwed into a switch and black taped all up. But I'm going to put this guy on the post, tie it in there, and then I got my compression gauge. And basically what I'm going to do, well, I'll take this tape off of the intake so it can breathe, and I'm just going to crank it. I'm going to give it about 4 cycles reading that gauge, and then I'm going to come over here and write down my compression on the cylinders. And we're looking for good compression on each one, obviously, and then with them being within about 10% of each other. And we'll hope for the best. Here goes nothing. All right, well, there's a face of disappointment. Here's my numbers. Right side, okay, 130, 90, 140. I can live with 90. Same on the left, 140, 95. But that number 5 cylinder, that's 30 PSI out of that guy, maybe 35. When I crank this thing over, you know, I'm sitting here right above the exhaust port, and I can hear it though. I can hear it going out the exhaust port on the compression. So I think it's probably just the valves are worn out there, the valve sealing on there. So I think that's my issue. Just to be sure, I'm going to show you guys a slick little tool. I'll put a link up to it, but if you guys go way back to like my very first YouTube video, I use this camera right here. And this guy is like a little borescope camera that has a little light with it, and it basically links up via Wi-Fi to my cell phone. So I'm going to take this thing, jam it in that hole, and I'm going to go around there and look and see if there's a hole in the piston or broken ring lands or anything like that. Okay, so this thing's pretty slick. This is my camera, and this is my cell phone. So obviously you can see, right? You can see yourself. There you go. That's what we're looking at. So I'm going to throw this thing up here, clean my camera off a little. There we go. We got a real nice picture. Let's go in this cylinder and see what we can come up with. Okay. Now I tried the old trick of squirting oil in there and seeing if the compression came up any. So that's why there's fresh oil sitting on the cylinder walls. Eugh. That doesn't look good. It looks like some crap on the, that looks like pretty bad on the cylinder wall. I can't tell if that's from the cylinder going up and down recently with the oil or what. And then basically what the deal is, if you squirt a bunch of oil in and then run a compression test, the compression comes up and then goes away, then your rings are bad. But if not, you know, basically no change, then it's probably your valves. And based on the sound I'm hearing up here, I think that's what's going on. I'll put you guys right down here next to it as I shove that tester in there, and we'll give it one more shot here. Well, kind of a bummer. You saw that when we put the oil, cranked a bunch of oil into that cylinder, and then cranked it over, it went way up from the 30 up to, you know, what is that, about 75 PSI, which tells me the rings are worn on this thing. Oh man, I really didn't want to tear into this thing and rebuild it, but I can't just put it in the Jeep like that. So what's this all mean? Well, I guess it means we're going to do a little tear down rebuild job on a little 4.3 V6. Yeah, no big deal, just a little more time to get the project done, but I might as well do it right. I can't stand to put a junk engine in that thing and then have it down and have to tear it down again just to rebuild it. So, all right, well, do me a favor, hit subscribe, the subscribe button, and then watch one of these other videos that pops up on the screen here in a minute, because you guys are going to want to see these, how this project turns out. Hey, you guys want a Bad Hombre Garage sticker? I had a bunch of these made, and these things aren't for sale. The only way you get one is to trade one out with me. I had a bunch of guys that have done that, sent me some cool stuff. I've sent them stickers back, and I'm gonna lay these out, the stickers I got from other guys, up here on my practiced bead rolling panel that I have hanging up for decoration on the wall. I think it's gonna be the perfect sticker spot. So the first one I'm gonna show off here, Desert Rat 2000. This is from my friend Mike up in Washington State. Desert Rat 2000, go check out his YouTube channel. He's got some cool videos. Does works on a couple old Chevy pickups. Also into some pretty cool Volkswagen stuff, which is honestly what got me started watching this channel. But Mike, thanks for the nice letter. I know this is long overdue. You sent it months ago. Thanks for the stickers. Yours is going to be the first one up on the wall. Oh yeah, there's the Valley camshaft. Ooh, kind of looks like a colonoscopy.